Hey everybody, PokerDad here. Thank you once again for joining me for a YouTube video. This one here is going to be a review of a tournament that I played yesterday on BetOnline. This is the 1K Micro Main Event on BetOnline. It's a deep stack tournament, so you start off with 10,000 in chips, which is about 300 and I think about 350 big blinds maybe or so. I really like this tournament. It's a one re-entry tournament, pretty good prize pool, and the buy-in is only $2.20. So it's a tournament I really enjoy, and I did pretty decent in it yesterday for the most part. And what I wanted to do here is I wanted to actually go over the hands which I saw the flop. And we'll go through those now. So we'll take a look at some spots where maybe I should have shoved or not have shoved. We'll take a look at some hands post flop through Flopzilla, and go through these hands one by one. So without further ado, let's jump into it. This right here, we are in the 15-30 blind level, so we're really early. And in this tournament, I played pretty tight to start. But as you can see here, we have Queen 10 here in the cutoff. And we get an open limp here. Now, I do have some stats on players here. The stats are going to be as of what we knew they were at the time of the hand. So it's not going to be the stats of the player that's already been accumulated. So, of course, here we're only 3 hands into the tournament. We don't have that kind of information. So anyway, we get an open limp here. So we know an open limp, though, from an under the gun early position is going to be definitely a weaker player here. So with Queen 10 suited, I decide not to isolate this early in the tournament, and I decide just to over limp here, which I think is fine because right now the chips aren't as valuable. We're so deep. I don't think it's really necessary for me to isolate here versus an under the gun player I don't know anything about at this stage. But we do get an isolation here from the small blind. A very small, just a min isolation, which is kind of weird, I guess. Why not they just over limp? You know, their isolation raise really not doing too much here, just adding one extra big blind. So of course everybody's going to call, and we go multi-way. We have a backdoor flush draw. We also do have a gut shot as well. So it checks around to me here. I can definitely bet here, but again, with it being so early in the tournament, the value of the chips really aren't that valuable as of yet. $267 worth of chips in the middle. So I check behind here, and a 2 comes out, improving us to a flush draw. So now we do have a gut shot and a flush draw, and we get a bet here of 90 from the small blind. And I think this is something here that we could either bet or we can raise here. I think I'd rather see myself raise here than bet. But again, we're actually in position here too, so we don't have to raise here. But we can take the pot here if we do raise. I decided to flat though, which I think is fine too, considering that we're in position. The 5 is a brick. So our opponent checks here, and we could definitely bluff or just check behind to lose the hand, which is what I elect to do, and we end up losing ace queen. So in retrospect, probably I think probably better to raise here and then take the hand instead of just calling behind, because it puts me in a tough spot. And then I don't like the fact that I didn't bluff here. I played this way too passively, this hand, with such a monster hand like a gut shot and a flush draw. I think even though it's early in the tournament, I think it would have been a good spot to play this a little bit more aggressively here. Here I have 9-2 in the big blind. We're at the 20-40 blind level. And this is a spot that obviously we're just going to check behind. I don't think this really manifests much to anything here. No. So some hands going to be like that. Here we're in the cutoff with King Jack suited. We get an open raise here from a player. We have 59 hands on them. Is this the this is the entire session? All right, so we'll go with that. That's fine. So this player is a pretty loose player, a little bit like not aggressive, like just loose and like semi-aggressive. They open up here 3x, And here at this stage with 243 big blinds deep, I'd rather just call King Jack suited here and not 3-bet it. I'll 3-bet King Jack offsuit, but call King Jack suited here. But actually, it looks like I did 3-bet here, which I guess is fine too. I mean, that's okay. Also, play heads up, because here at least we can play heads up versus a weaker player. We do get a call here from the small blind, which I think is pretty bad. Calling a 3-bet from the small blind makes really no sense at all. And we're going to go multi-way here. Obviously not really a great flop for us. And we get a donk min bet from the small blind. Just pretty bad play. And I get a call. And we're going to call as well with 2 overs here. We can improve to an open-ender, or we can improve to top pair here. So for a min bet, we're not going anywhere. Ace comes out, so we do improve to a gut shot, but on a 3-club board. When it goes check here, I could actually I can see an argument for betting here, with the gut shot on a 3-club board here to take it down. So I check behind here. So I think I actually missed the opportunity being in the button here, throw out a bet here on the 3-club board. So again, I think I played this pretty passively. I probably could have played a little bit more aggressively here and taken down the pot. 10 comes out now, and now obviously we're completely done here. And yeah, I mean, a hand like King 7, probably a good chance this guy's going to fold out on the ace and the clubs. So probably missed an opportunity there, and obviously this guy missed too. Here we have 113 blinds at this stage. We are at the 40-80 blind level. And we're in the big blind. So I think this is going to be another limp pot. And we have middle pair and a backdoor flush draw. Not sure how heavily I would want to get involved in this. We get a half pot bet there from the cutoff. So I think we're just going to fold up to a half pot bet in a multi-way pot. Here we have ace-jack suited in the 5100 blind level. We're sitting with 8-9 big blinds right now. We get a 2x open raise here. So this is a spot. It is early position. Again, this is a spot I could 3-bet or I can call. Now, this particular opponent here has a VPIP of 32 and a PFR of 3. So they're a very, very loose passive player. So the fact that they're open raising here and their open raise percentage is 3%. In fact, I should probably, can I take a look at this? So I have it. Yeah, let's look at the HUD stats at time of the hand so we can really even get better idea of my decision making. This person, we did have 35 hands. They were 23-3. So my thought process here was this player is a pretty tight player as it is. And the fact that they are opening up even for 2x in an early position, I decided to just flat here and not 3-bet because my concern here is that this player is opening so tight that if I 3-bet, we could get 4-bet. So ace-jack suited is perfectly fine, even if we got to play it multi-way. And that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to have a 5-way pot here. We end up with top pair, which is great, but not amazing in this situation, especially because villain could always have ace-king or ace-queen. And villain does actually bet here. Now, the bet is obviously really, really small, which is kind of a strange bet. So because he bets, though, we're not going to raise. We're just going to call, and we get a lot of other calls, which is, one of these guys could also have a 3 as well. Not the best situation. 7 comes out, and again, we get this really weird bet. Don't know really what this opponent is possibly doing, but I do know I'm just going to continue calling. I'm not going to raise it. I don't really know what villain 12 is up to. And once again here on the river, he does the same thing again. So again, I just call. I mean, the pot's pretty inflated at this point. And as you can see, our opponent had pocket jacks, and we take it down with ace jack. So I don't think raising really would have been the right play here. In fact, it probably worked out the best way by just calling, because I think if we raise at any point, jacks are probably going to fold here. So it probably actually worked out well by playing it this way, and we got everybody to continue to call every street. Looks like it's going to be a big blind hand, so let's just see if anything actually manifests here. We do have an open ender here. And I I think we should definitely be calling this bet here. The pot, we're getting the proper odds definitely to call and hit our straight. And we don't hit it here. The board pairs now. I think now we can definitely give up to a bet. Half pot bet. Even with villain 12 calling, I just don't see the advantage of calling here. Just because the board is paired now, I think we can give up the open ender. And yeah, as you can see, this ended up being a crazy hand where, of course, it's going to be a full house. So, looks like another big blind hand. And we're just going to kind of just zoom past this here. Pocket aces here. Right now we are at the 100-200 big blind level. We're sitting here with 50 big blinds, 49 big blinds to be exact. And we get a open limp here from a 31-3 player. I believe this is probably the same player as before. And of course we're definitely going to be isolating with our aces. And we do get a call, so I mean this is just pretty bad play, of course. Again, guy's probably limping a huge range here. 10-5-4, I mean, probably better for a open limping range than for our range. But we do have pocket aces. We do have top pair. The SPR here is really small because our opponent here has about 6,000 in chips. So this is about a 3 SPR. So we really, at this stage, the only option to me is just to shove him all in. And if he calls, great. If not, he folds. But I think an all-in bet here is probably the best play. The only other thing would be, us betting 2/3 pot and then getting it all in on the river. Could be the other option. But I mean, there are draws here. I think we want to kind of avoid. So I think really probably shoving all in is going to be the best play here. I don't do that, so I do bet 2/3 pot. I mean, which is fine too. Either way, we're going to be getting it all in, probably on the turn here. Our opponent does call, and a 4 hits. Not too thrilled about the 4. Now there are more draws as well. He's never going to fold, obviously, here. So we're going to shove it. I think the best player at this point is just going to be shove it all in. But I really feel like we probably should have shoved it all in on the, based on the SPR on the flop. So he checks, and we do now shove it all in, and he gives it a call. And yeah, he had top pair. So I mean, even if we would have shoved this all in on the flop with a 3 SPR pot, pretty sure that villain 12 here would have called with top pair. And by the way, I mean, this is just pretty bad. Again, open limping queen 10 offsuit and then calling to my ISO bet, and he's out of position. It's just pretty bad play, I think. Here we have pocket 8s. We're in the 100-200 blind level. And we get a 2x open raise here from the this is from the hijack. And we're, of course, going to call our pocket 8s here. No reason to 3-bet. I think calling pocket 8s is perfectly fine here. Plus, you will also take a look at this player here. At this point, we've played 6-9 hands with him. And he, again, is a pretty... He's not even loose passive. He's more tight passive. So the fact that he's even opening is, is noteworthy. So we're just going to call up 8s. Call 8s here. 3-betting is probably not the right play. And we have third pair here. We're, of course, going to check out of position. He throws out a half-pot C-bet here. I mean, we could definitely call 8s here. I don't think we should be folding. We have 84 big blinds currently. I think we should definitely call 8s at least one street. And I fold there. So I don't like that. I don't like that fold. I think the reason why I folded it was I was just more concerned about the fact that he had a 4 PFR at the time, so we could have had overs. But still, I think to a half-pot bet, we probably have to call this here. Let's just take a look at this one really quickly in Flopzilla. Go back. We have 8 of clubs and 8 of diamonds. And let's just take a 4% range here, which looks something like this. We'll give a king-queen offsuit as well. And the board was 10 of hearts, 2 of clubs, and jack of spades. So we check, and let's say our opponent's betting, let's see, sets, 2 pairs, over pairs, top pairs, There were no middle pairs, no weak pairs, no ace high. I mean, he could be betting. He could be definitely be C betting his ace high there. Let's say he won't bet the king queens here. Well, the king queens are also open enders, so he's definitely betting those. Let's see, he's betting his gut shots here, his backdoor flush draws, all of this stuff he's betting, right? So he's pretty much betting his entire range here. Well, we have 39% equity versus entire range on this flop. So clearly, this is a pretty bad fold here with eights. He's only betting half pot, so we need only 25% equity to call. So folding eights here was really, really tight, even versus a 4% range on this board. So yeah, this is pretty bad. You know, a 9 could come out, we can improve to an open ender here. And we could hit an 8, and, you know, good chance, you know, that we might win that pot there with a set. So, yeah, I think the 8's a pretty bad fold here, given the pot odds that we were given. And definitely based on what we just looked at in Flopzilla. Let's take a quick drink here. Okay, we have pocket aces again. And we're at the 125 to 50 level. And folds around to us, of course, we're going to open up our pocket aces here, which I open up to 2.5x, which is what the what opening range I'm using. I have 65 big blinds right now, so perfectly fine. And we get a call here from the big blind, which the big blind here through 91 hands at this stage is a 6-3-7, so a very loose passive player. I did have HUD stat value as a time hand. Yeah, perfect. Okay, just want to make sure I was correct. Yeah, so I mean, this player right here, very loose passive player, call me from the button. So he's going to have a really, really huge range here. I mean, just take a look at what his range looks like, a 65% range, just to get an idea of what that looks like. And mind you, this might not, his button calling range might even, VPIP might even be larger than this. But obviously, this is just like a huge range here. So in fact, we could take a look at his HUD real quick, and we would see from the button, from the big blinds, his VPIP is 67%. So it's actually, the VPIP is very close, 67, right, what his VPIP is there to the what it is in the big blind. So anyway, he calls, so we know he's going to have a pretty large range. We have ace-ace. This is a pretty decent flop for me. Not only because I have enough flush draw, because the monotone board and being the open raiser, this is definitely going to favor me here. My opponent checks, definitely want to bet here. I decided to bet half pot, and I think half pot is perfectly fine. I'm not really trying to protect anything here. Definitely want to get some calls with my pocket aces here. So, you know, if I didn't have a spade, but let's say I had, you know, like maybe a pair of kings or something like that, I would want to bet a little bit bigger to protect my hand, and get him to fold some of his spades that he may have. Obviously not a flush, but if he has just like, you know, if he has like a king, a jack of spades, queen of spades, get him to fold hands like that. But here, considering, you know, that I have such an amazing hand right now, because I still can get the nut flush here, and I have the overpair, I just bet half pot, and he calls, and I do now turn the nut flush here. So now at this stage, I'm definitely betting for value. So I bet about 2/3 pot here, and we get a call. And clearly, I want to just keep on betting here. So I bet about 3/4 pot here, and we get a call. And we take down a really nice pot. So probably really bad play here by our opponent, because now he leaves himself with only 59.82. Not very good. I'm assuming he probably called with a weaker flush draw. That's my assumption. Here we have 10-7 suited, 125, 250 blind level. Get an open limp here from a 17-2 player. So a tight passive player. Open limp is quite interesting. I mean, this could be a very, very large range. He could be even open limping, you know, hands like queens and jacks and things like that, even ace king, things like that. When he's such a tight player, he's only opening 2% of his range, which you take a look at what 2% is. I mean, this is pretty much it. So even less than this. So like I said, I mean, he literally could just be opening up like these 3 combos, and that's about, or maybe just ace king, and maybe that's it. And maybe not even ace king, maybe like queen queen and ace king suited or something like that. So anyway, Obviously, you know, here in the big blind, we're just calling. And don't really hit anything here, so it's probably just going to move on. Here we have ace-jack suited. And we're in the 150-300 blind level. Open limp here from, again, a tight passive player, 19-6. And we get a bunch of calls here. So this is a spot I definitely do want to isolate over 3 limpers at this stage in 150-300 because we could take down a bunch of blinds here. So I do isolate pretty large, actually. Just do the math on this one here. If I'm doing... so I made it like 7.4x. So pretty big isolation. I think I just clicked the pop button on this one, to be honest with you. And we get a call here from this player in the small blind. I mean, I can't imagine. The player is through 10 hands. I mean, he's a 50-20. So probably a pretty versatile player here. I'm not really sure what he could possibly be calling with that he would be doing something like this. Probably a pocket pair or something like that, or maybe a suited ace himself that he might be doing this with. But I just don't think this is really the right play in a small blind to just be flatting my ISO raise. And it's a pretty big raise. And he's playing at a position, just not really very smart. We flopped a straight, which is pretty sweet. And our opponent donks into us. So this is just a pretty wild spot here. Clearly, we definitely want to raise here. Bump it up 3x, which is what I do. And my opponent decides to shove all in. So, yeah. I guess... Yeah, I mean, he just decides to shove. Yeah, I mean, he decides to shove all in. I mean, how many blinds is this? I just want to see just the calculation on blinds in his hand, just to get an idea. So he donk bets, right? Half pot. We bump it up 3x. Yeah, I mean, that was like a... I guess that's what. That's math is not my best. I mean, it's a 3x raise over my raise, but yeah, obviously this is a great situation for us. Either way, you know, this is just a great situation for us. We flopped a straight. There are no flush draws here or anything, and he had king queen. So he raised us all in with 2 pair on this particular board, and I mean. I guess the thing is like there's really no way for him to get away from 2 pair probably here. He's probably never folding it anyway, so maybe that's why he shoved all in. But I don't think that was the best play. But it worked out well for us because we won a huge pot. I mean, I guess he felt like he was just like committed with his hand anyway. But I mean, he started up the hand with 65 big blinds deep. I don't know if it's necessary. I mean, maybe he's just call, but that's the problem. But this is what happens. He calls my isolation out of position with king queen offsuit. I think really king queen offsuit, you should definitely fold there. To that isolation with all these other players that are in here, it was a pretty big isolation. I would just give up king queen offsuit here in the small blind. I just don't think it's a good hand to call with at that point. I think people overrate king queen offsuit way too much, and playing it out of position, it's definitely very difficult. Here we get an open limp. So there's nothing interesting here. Here we are in the 250-500 blind level, but there is no small blind here. Obviously, we're going to check it behind here. We have a gut shot. And we get a half pot bet here, so I think we definitely need to call. So I don't know why I folded there. That was pretty bad. I'm definitely going to be calling with a gut shot there, especially to a half pot bet. Get an open limp over here. This is in the 250-500 level. Getting this guy here, tight passive player. Ace-10 here, we are definitely going to be isolating out of position. And we get a call from the big blind, which kind of sucks. Big blind here's the 27 hands to 27-8, so he's kind of passive. And we go multi-way. We hit top pair, so hitting top pair, we just want to c-bet here. Bet half pot, maybe even more than half pot. Maybe even 2/3 here, just to fold out draws. And I actually underbet here, which I think underbetting is fine too. I I don't know, though. I think I at least want to bet half pot here. I think the underbet's not necessary. We do get a all in here from this guy who's just calling because he was already short stack. Which, by the way, I mean, if we go back to the beginning of the hand, by the way, right, we isolated. This player has 9 big blinds. Why is he just calling when he's got 9 big blinds? He should be shoving right here. There's no reason to call and leave yourself with 23, 38 in chips. Makes absolutely no sense. So he really should have shoved here with 9 big blinds. So I don't know what he was really thinking. But yeah, okay, so we bet here. We underbet. This player's in, and this guy calls as well. And we hit 2 pair here on a 3 club board. Now, this player here only has 19 big blinds. So, I mean, we got this guy covered so well here. I really think the best bet here is probably just to shove this. This guy has 19 big blinds left. We have 2 pair. We're never folding this hand. So I think the best bet here is just going to be shoving this here. I check. I don't know why I did that. So I don't like this either here. I mean, this guy's 19 big blinds. I don't see any reason not to just shove here. He's going to call with really any ace here. He's not only just going to call with clubs. Now he ends up raising, putting us all in. Obviously, again, we're never folding 2 pair. We call it. And, yeah, I mean, he called with an ace. So I think if we shove him here, I think he's still calling with that ace with 19 big blinds. I don't understand why I checked it there after I let out on the flop. This guy ends up lucking out. His play was so bad, but he lucked out anyway. So we actually lost to him, but we beat this guy. Looks like this right here. It's going to be a limp pot. Our opponent just bets into us here, and I think it's just an easy fold. Pocket sevens here. We're in the 300, 600 level. Get an open raise here, all in, 3 big blinds from the under the gun player. And here I am going to just shove all in. And the reason why I just shove all in here is just so I can play this player heads up. If I call here, then we're going to have other people call as well. And that's not what we're looking for. So that's why we shove all in with our pocket sevens. And we get to play him heads up. And we take it down with our pocket sevens. So, I mean, if we call here, then we're going to have a couple other guys come in. Now we got to play post flop. And we're probably going to end up having to fold this hand. We're probably going to lose this hand. But by shoving all in here, we have a guy here with 53 big blinds, 15 big blinds. This guy could probably maybe come along. 54. These guys aren't going to call my shove because I got these guys covered. These guys will end up killing their tournament if they called. So there's no way that they're calling there. Here we have pocket sixes in the big blind. Get an open raise here from early position. 3x from a player who we don't really have any hands on yet at this point. And we get a call here from another player that we don't really know much about. And we call here as well, which was pretty obvious, easy move. Pocket sixes here. I think on an ace high board, this guy underbets. When this guy underbets here, I don't think we can fold sixes here. Now this guy comes along too. I mean, we're getting too good of odds to call, so we got to call our sixes. I don't know why I folded that. That was a pretty bad fold. I mean, this is like pretty much as close to a min bet as you're going to get. We're in a 300, 600 level. I'm 68 big blinds deep. I don't know why I folded that. That was pretty bad. Here we have ace queen. Where we open it up here 2.5x. Get a call here. Player is unknown. And we get a shove all in. It's not a shove. It's a three bet. So 3-bet here from a player. Again, we don't have any stats on it. I think when I came to this table, I also just moved to this table at this time, which is why I don't have any stats on people. But I'm definitely going to call the 3-bet here in position versus the small blind player. And haphazardly, this guy comes along, which, again, I don't really understand why somebody like this is going to come along and play a 3. You know, now we have a super inflated pot. With this guy coming along, I don't really quite understand it, but he does. But luckily, we end up flopping a straight, which is pretty sweet. The So at this stage here, yeah, I mean, because this is such an inflated pot, it's actually kind of interesting. It's a 1 SPR pot. So this guy's going to shove all in, which, I mean, if he has any piece of this board, especially if he has a king, he's pot committed at this point. So that's what happens here when this guy calls. He makes this a 1 SPR, less than 1 SPR pot, with this guy being the effective stack. So yeah, he has to shove. He has no choice. Obviously, we're thrilled about this. So we're gonna shove our ace queen here, and insanely enough, this guy calls. This guy calls as well. So crazy pot. We have the straight, and we take down just a ridiculously huge pot. This guy called with a backdoor flush draw and a gut shot. I mean, think about the stack that he just punted off. That's insane. And this guy had a set. All right, this is fine. So this guy just got coolered. This guy just super bad luck for him. But great luck for us, and we really chipped up here. This was probably like one of the best hands of the whole entire session for me. And really thanks to this guy, because this guy's play was terrible. I should have won a lot less money in this hand. But this guy coming along, first of all, this guy calls the 3-bet, which I think it's a pretty bad call. But then to call the shove on a gut shot makes no sense, especially considering how deep. Like, he was fine. He started his hand with 58 big blinds. Like, what is he thinking? Here we have King Jack offsuit. We get a limp here. So I think this is a spot I really need to isolate out of position. I don't want to just check here. I don't like this play at all. Don't have really any history on any of these players. I think King Jack suited is just going to play for a better isolation, even though we're going to be out of position. I guess my concern was that nobody was going to fold, but being 141 big blinds deep, in fact, maybe it was because this guy was so short. He started the hand with 5 big blinds, but I think like that's even more reason just to isolate here. I could even think about like isolate shoving here. This guy has 26 big blind. There's no way he's going to call, and we just at least get this guy all in pre-flop. So probably an isolation shove versus these players might have actually been the best play here, and just play this guy heads up. You know, we're not going to lose too much versus him, and there's a good chance this guy's going to fold out. So I think we should have probably just shoved here. Now we're in a position we can never win this pot. So I think this was a mistake. We need to just shove here. I'm kind of curious. Let me take out this hand. Let's go back to it. Let's see what ICMizer says. I don't know if ICMizer will have an opinion on this or not, but I want to see. Queen Jack, King Jack. Let's see if I can find the hand. We were in the big blind. Let me see if I can find the hand. I don't know if we ever find it. Oh, yeah, we should have the hand number. I don't know if we'll have the hand number or not here. No. This is the first time I'm doing this, so I apologize. See if I can find this hand real quick. There's probably going to be better ways to do this. I think this is it right here. Yeah, this is the hand right here. Limp, limp. Okay, let's just calculate this real quick. Nah, that's saying a shove actually would be a bad play. All right, that's interesting. Okay, fair enough. Probably because maybe fear this guy coming along, but I guess it's saying a shove is a bad play here. But I guess it's also because it's saying this. I don't know, because maybe I'm so deep. I don't really know. I don't know. I don't even know if ICMizer is the right thing to be using here anyway. Like if I press this here. Oh. All right, I guess because it's a tournament, we don't have the prize structure, I really can't figure that stuff out. So that's all right. That's fine. So be it. All right. Here we have King Queen suited. We're at the 400, 800 blind level. We open up an under gun, which actually I think is pretty loose. I don't think this is actually a good open raise. from this position. This guy is just blinding out. We get a call here, and we play this pot 5 ways with one guy just in by default. Backdoor flush draw, multi-way. We're not going to be going too crazy with this here. This guy falls on the check, which is awesome. Here we have ace-3 suited. Ace-3 offsuit, I'm sorry. Obviously, we're just going to take the free flop. Hit bottom pair. I mean, I'm not going to be fighting hard on this hand here. Here we have ace-8 suited from the small blind. And from the cutoff. We get an open raise here from a player so far. It's been pretty passive. We could 3-bet or we can call this here. I think since we're so deep, we might as well just call it and get to see a cheap flop. No reason to 3-bet here. We do get top pair and a backdoor nut flush draw. Definitely want to bet here. We bet 2/3 pot just to take down the pot now. And we do. Since our hand's pretty vulnerable here. This is another big blind hand. I should have taken out these big blind hands here. Here we have an open raise, pretty big open raise here. We're in a 501,000 level, and this guy's an 8x. Oh, he's shoving. I'm sorry, he's shoving all in. All right, so that's fine. He's shoving all in. I think the best play here with ace jack offsuit now is just for us to reshove. We got a player here with 3 big blinds. We got a player here with 8 big blinds. You know, even this guy here has 23 big blinds, but you know, probably not gonna be too worried about him coming along. And one of these guys can come along too. It's perfectly fine. So considering what's out there, this guy shoving 8 big blinds, I think we just have to reshove ace jack offsuit here. And that's what I do. And we'll play heads up, which is fine. And we actually end up chopping. We did actually have it beat. We had him beat with ace jack until the river here. But probably actually that worked out well for us because it was a king. So I don't know. We had the hand, but we ended up chopping the hand. But if it was a king of a different suit, he would have won the hand. Either way, I guess it works out fine. Here we have 8-7 here. 8-7, I think we can just flat here in the cutoff. And play multi-way, which is fine. We have top pair, backdoor flush draw. We got a pot size bet here. I think the pot size bet we could just give up with the backdoor flush draw on second pair. This player through 20 hands is a 50-10. Here we have 9-6 suited. So 9-6 suited here. This player has 3 big blinds, so we're just going to shove all in here. Just really with literally any 2 cards, and here we do it with 9-6 suited. And he does call. And looks like we took it down. Here we're in the 800, 1600 blind level. And we open up here with ace queen. Get a call. Opponent checks. I think this is a pretty good board for me to bet on here. It's kind of dry. King 5-2. Probably our opponent doesn't connect with it too often, so I think we should just c-bet here. Bet half pot, which is what I do, and we take it down. So here in the turn, we actually hit top pair. And we're out of position. I could definitely bet here, or I could just check. I think I should probably bet here and just get some kind of value. I check, play very passively. I don't understand why. Obviously, I'm going to call. And we actually lose to a set. So I could have bet here. He could have raised, and then I would have folded. So I guess I saved myself some money, but I think I really should be betting there. Just getting some value from some lower pairs. Here we have 10-9 in the 1,000, 2,000 level. Here I decide just to overlimp, which I think is fine. This player has 12 big blinds. I could also think about just 3-bet shoving him all into, but I don't think I need to do that with a hand like 10-9 suited. He does have 12 big blinds as well, so we can play post flop and just get it in post flop versus him. So here we have a backdoor flush draw. And I mean, this is a spot here I really think that I should be taking advantage of and betting. We have a guy here who has 16 big blinds, a guy who has here 12 big blinds. Probably going to get them to fold a lot here. So I definitely think I missed an opportunity being in position by not at least betting half pot or even under betting here. So missing out, definitely missing out on some opportunities to just get some, just steal some chips, and I think that's definitely an opportunity. Just a bluff there in the button. Here we're going to open up 2.5x here from the button with ace-4 offsuit. Just for the steal, we got to play with 28 big blinds and play with 3. We're sitting with 53. We get a call. And this board here, I mean, I could bet or I can check. I decided to check behind. And we pair the board here. I decided just to check back again. And we hit a full house. We bet and he folds. Ace-jack offsuit here. And we decide to isolate here the limper. Don't have many hands on him yet. He is pretty deep, though, as you can tell, as I am. He gives it a call. And he donks into us here. And considering we just completely missed this board, and he donk bets with a pot-sized bet, we're just going to easily fold out here. Here we have King 10 suited. And the issue here is that this player, 11 hands, I've been seeing him do some strange stuff. I could definitely isolate him here, but I think King 10 suited is just better off just to check here, which I do. And, I mean, this is a min bet here. I probably should be calling this with the overcard. Probably it's a bad fold, considering it was a limp pot. This guy was definitely very volatile. He was passive pre-flop, but very volatile. We get a limp here from a very loose passive player at 4-8-3-5. Another limp. So I think I should be isolating here with ace-10 offsuit, and I do. And both players come along. It's amazing sometimes. You try and isolate, these guys still come along. These guys at least have some chips to work with. We hit top pair, which is pretty sweet, of course. Definitely want to bet here. I don't have to bet big, so I could bet half pot here. It's not a dangerous board, not a draw board, very dry. So I actually under bet here, which I think is fine too. We should be good most of the time, and we take it down. Now we are at the 1600, 3200 level. Not sure if we're in the money yet at this point or not. I don't think Poker Tracker will tell me that information. So I'm not sure at what stage we actually are in the money. I guess that'd be kind of helpful to know, but in terms of the hand reviews, but it's all right. Gonna give it a call. It's gonna check back here. This player's got 37 big blinds. Not gonna plus his own small blind here as well. We have middle pair. We check. Our opponent bets half pot. I think we definitely have to call at least one bet here. We do. We check. He bets again, and we could easily fold on the ace. Here we have ace-queen. And we get a limp here. So definitely want to isolate. And we get a call. Opponent checks. I think we definitely need to bet here. Not the best board. I guess we don't have to bet. I guess we can bet because, I mean, 4-2 is not going to really... This board's not going to connect too well with him either. We could probably just take down the spot now. So I check back, but actually I think I probably should throw out a bet here. Even like a third pot bet, I think is fine. This player is very passive. He's going to probably fold a lot. No, we actually end up taking it down to raise high. Here, this player has 20 big blinds. I think here with this player having 28 big blinds, we could either check here or we can bet into him. I do check back. We have a open ender here. Our opponent bets. I mean, he still has 28 big blinds. I think this is a weird spot. Again, we're in position. We don't have to raise it. So we do call. Like being in position, like we just don't have to raise it. Now, we do hit a straight, but it's not the straight we're really looking for. We would have hoped to have had a 6 here. Obviously, this guy can have a queen and... Oh, we didn't have an open ender before. We had a gut shot, so... I guess from that point of view, yeah, I don't know. I got it bet here. We hit the straight. He raises and we fold. But I guess, yeah, we definitely would. Yeah, we definitely would have called the gut shot. I guess just we bet, with fear of him having a queen, and we bet if he raises, then we fold it. That's what we did. Here we have queen jack offsuit. Queen jack suited. All right, yeah, I know we are definitely in the money. We have 34 big blinds now, so we're actually coming up towards the end of this end of our run here. We have 34 big blinds here in the cutoff. I think we're at like the final 6 tables or something like that at this point. And yeah, we open raise here, our 2.5x. I could even open up 2x here. Maybe this is even too big of an open at this stage of the tournament. And we get a call here. This guy at this point was a chip leader. This is the same guy. He's super versatile. He's also a calling station as well. And I remember actually the hand right before this I was checking because he had won a pretty big hand that made no sense on a previous where he was just calling down with aces. And actually called a shove with aces. He called a shove with, I think, ace-jack. Then there were no draws. And he actually called a shove versus a player and ended up rivering the ace. So, this is a player that's just a complete calling station. And if I would have realized that before this hand, this hand would not have happened. He checks into me, and I'm definitely going to throw out a c-bet here. I mean, I have to at least throw out a c-bet here with the backdoor draw, which I think is perfectly fine. Half pot. He calls it. Ace comes out. He checks. Now, this is where I made a mistake here. I bet again, even though I underbet. It really was unnecessary. I should really be giving up this hand at this point. I have no draws. I got no way to improve. This guy's a calling station. He's super volatile. I also know he likes to float aces. So he calls here, and I decide to give up and not even bluff again, which I think was the correct play. But I think the mistake really more so was on the flop there. So was on the turn. I should not have bet that turn. So that was a mistake. Here we have a7 offsuit. Looks like a limp pot. Okay, so this is the final hand, and this is an interesting one. We have 20 big blinds here. We have ace king. It's It's a 4,000 level. Our super volatile chip leader open limps. And we decide to shove all in with our ace king. So it's a weird. You know what? This is a weird spot, and I don't know if this was the correct play or not. We definitely want to isolate here. If I isolate, let's say I make it 1,600. I'm sorry, 16,000. That'll leave me with 58,554, which is like I'll have 16 big blinds left, which will give me room to get away from the hand post flop. And I'm probably not committed at that point. Because if, let's say, for example, I bet 58,000, right? So 1,600,000. I mean, it's less than a 1 SPR pot, so I might be committed there. But I'm only committed there if, I have top pair. So I think actually I should have isolated here instead of shoving. I think shoving was the wrong play, especially versus a player who I've already called the calling station. Maybe if I have, aces, kings, queens, maybe it's better here. But maybe I should have just isolated in this spot. And the thing is, now looking at this board the way it came, I was never folding on this board anyway. So actually, when you look at it this way, I was probably never folding on this board anyway. And he, as you can see again, I mean, he calls this shove with queen jack offsuit, 20 big blind shove, which I don't really think is the right call either. With queen jack offsuit, 20 big blinds, but I guess he's thinking he's so deep or whatever. Yeah, so it is what it is. You know what? This is getting all in anyway, because with it being less than 1 SPR pot, I'm never getting away from this hand with a gut shot. I'm probably just gonna shove all in on the flop anyway. And clearly he's never folding it there, so probably not the worst play now that I think about it. I ended up finishing 4th in the tournament. I was pretty happy about it. I played a little bit over 4 hours in this tournament. Definitely was nice to have a nice deep run in one of these Bet Online tournaments. And yeah, this was a fun little exercise. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I actually streamed this tournament live on Twitch, so you guys can catch me on Twitch every Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at twitch.tv/PokerDad2878. Follow me on Twitter, and you'll get notifications of when I'm streaming as well. It's at PokerDad28. And yeah, I appreciate if you like what you saw here on the video, please do me a favor and click the subscribe button. And yeah, thanks so much. And until next time, PokerDad out.